Now it is your turn to answer some questions about a car traveling 65 miles per hour. If you have not attempted this example on your own already, please pause the video, please attempt this example on your own first, then return to the video to check your work. A car is traveling 65 miles per hour. In part A, how far will the car have traveled after 2 hours and 20 minutes? Recognizing that this question is asking how far, we need to recognize that we should be getting an answer that is a distance. So if we begin by writing this as 65 miles per hour, meaning 65 miles for each hour, or as a fraction, 65 miles over 1 hour, we need to multiply by some fraction that will cancel out the hours unit in the denominator, but not cancel out the miles in the numerator because that is the distance. So our fraction that we need to multiply by will have to be something hours over 1. In the information we were given, we were told that the car had traveled for 2 hours and 20 minutes. We will need to convert this mixture of hours and minutes to a unit that is exclusively hours. So if we do 2 hours plus 20 minutes, well, we already have 2 hours, so we can put that in the numerator, but we need to think about 20 minutes. 20 minutes is how many hours? Well, again, if we do a side calculation with 20 minutes over 1, we would need to multiply by a unit ratio that would equate hours to minutes. We should be familiar with 1 hour being 60 minutes. And using that calculation, we can cancel out the minutes, and we will obtain the fact that 20 minutes is the same thing as 20 over 60 hours, which is the same thing as 1/3 hour. So bringing that back to our original calculation, 2 hours and 20 minutes is the same thing as 2 and 1/3 hours. We'll box off that information so that we don't confuse that side calculation with the question we're actually answering. If we look at the calculation that we have now set up, we have 65 miles for 1 hour times 2 1/3 hours over 1. The hours are set up to cancel like we needed them to, and we are left with the calculation 65 times 2 1/3. And the unit there will be miles. Putting this into my calculator returns that this is about 151.67. Again, the unit there will be miles. So to answer the question, how far will the car have traveled in 2 hours and 20 minutes? The car will have traveled about 151.67 miles in 2 hours and 20 minutes. In part B, we want to convert this rate, this speed, from miles per hour to feet per second. So we'll begin in the same way. We will start with 65 miles over 1 hour. We will need to multiply by a few different unit ratios. First, we need to convert the hours to seconds. So we will need to multiply by a unit ratio that equates 1 hour to how many minutes? Well, 1 hour is the same thing as 60 minutes. And then we need to further convert that from minutes to seconds. And we know 1 minute is 60 seconds. Now if we follow that calculation, the hours will cancel with hours, and the minutes will cancel with minutes, and we'll be left right now with what would equate to 65 miles per second. But the problem with that is we don't want miles per second, we want feet per second. So now we need a second calculation to convert these miles to feet. For that, we need a unit ratio that relates miles to feet. We are given that 5,280 feet is equal to 1 mile. If you relate the first fraction to the very last fraction we're multiplying by, the miles in the numerator and the miles in the denominator cancel out. And so if you follow just the units now, we're going to be left with only feet in the numerator, and looking across the denominator, the only unit remaining is seconds. So this will give us the relationship that we want, feet per second. But we want to be very careful to track everything up in the numerator. So looking at the coefficients, we have 65 times 1 times 1 times 5280. So we'll rewrite that as 65 times 5280 in the numerator. And that's how many feet we have. And down in the denominator, we have 1 times 60 times 60 times 1. So we'll have 60 times 60 in the denominator. Putting that into a calculator, 65 times 5280 divided by the quantity 60 times 60 My calculator returns that is about 95.33. And the unit there still would be feet per second. So to conclude this, we can say 65 miles per hour is about 95.33 feet per second.